Good evening, students and families. My name is Mrs. McGill, and I am the head of guidance here at Markham District High School. On behalf of the guidance team, we are thrilled to have you here virtually at our open house. In this very brief presentation, I will be providing you with an overview of the Ontario Ministry graduation requirements, in addition to course selection and co-curricular options for our incoming grade 9 students. I strongly encourage all of our students in the audience, virtual audience that is, to pay extra attention and be involved in the decision making because this is going to affect the next few years of your life. I would also suggest that you get a pen and paper and jot down any questions that you have, because following this presentation, there will be a live Q&A where guidance counselors from Markham District High School will be able to help you and answer questions that you may have. Before we begin the academic requirements, I wanted to introduce you to our fabulous guidance team. From left to right, you'll see myself, Mrs. McGill. I service students with the last names A to HE. Then you will find Mr. Bowie. He services students with the last names HI to MA, followed by Mr. Weinstein, surnames MC to SE, and finally, but not least, Ms. Krahulis. She services students with surnames SH to Z. We will be your point of contact and your go-to for the next 4 years or 5 years of your life while you're here at Markham District. We are so thrilled to have you here virtually, like I said, and we can't wait to meet you in person next year in September. In order to achieve the Ontario Secondary School High School Diploma, there are 4 components. The first component being 18 compulsory credits. The next one, 12 optional or elective credits. The literacy test, which is completed in the grade 10 year. And finally, 40 hours of community service. Let's begin with the graduation requirements in more detail. So let's look at the graduation requirements a little bit more in detail. As you can see here, there are 18 compulsory credits that students must achieve. 4 credits are in English, and that would be 1 credit per grade. 3 credits in math, so that would be math taken in grades 9, 10, and 11. 2 credits for science, 1 credit in history, 1 credit in geography, another credit in art, another credit for physical education, 1 more credit for French, and then half a credit each for careers and civics. So the majority of these courses, these compulsory courses, will be taken in grades 9 and 10. So by the time you get to grade 11 and 12, you would have completed most of your compulsory courses. When you get to high school, there will be a sheet called a credit counseling summary sheet that will be distributed to you every year. And on that sheet is basically a tracking system of how you're doing in terms of credit accumulation for your compulsory and elective courses. So for grades 9 and 10, you will notice that the majority of your credits will start compiling for the compulsory credits. In grades 11 and 12, that's when you will start to compile more elective credits, because that's when you'll be given a little bit more choice. So going back to the 18 compulsory credits, you also need to achieve a credit for groups 1, 2, and 3. As you'll notice, there is a co-op credit that can be applied to each one of these groups. So again, I would strongly encourage you to do some experiential learning in grade 11 and 12 in co-op, and that would also help fulfill your groups 1, 2, and 3. If ever you're unsure of whether you're on track, you can always come here to guidance and we'll definitely help you. However, I want you to all know that the guidance counselors here review all credit counseling summaries for all students to ensure they are on track to graduate and that they are not missing any compulsory credits or elective credits. The next component of the O.S.S.D is the Ontario Literacy Test. This test is typically administered in grade 10 during the spring. The purpose of the test is to determine how well students are doing provincially in both reading and writing. The test is based on curriculum expectations from across all subject areas, not just English. Students, please don't panic. MDHS does a fantastic job of preparing students in grades 9 and 10 to write the test. Let's move on to community involvement hours. This is always a hot topic for many students, so hopefully I will answer all the questions that you have surrounding community service. In the event that I don't, please make a note of the question that you have and ask me or one of the other counselors following this presentation at our live Q&A or when we visit your feeder school. So as mentioned, students must achieve 40 hours of community service. Community hours are a great way for students to give back to their communities. Students can begin achieving their hours as soon as you graduate grade 8. So that means the summer prior to beginning your grade 9 year, you can go out and start working towards your 40 hours. Please note that prior to engaging in any kind of volunteer activity, you must have your volunteer form pre-approved in order to ensure all hours are counted. A copy of this form will be explained in the following slide. Please note that not all volunteer opportunities will count towards your 40 hours, even though companies and organizations may advertise this. Students have to complete their hours at a not-for-profit organization. In the following form that I will be explaining, there is at the back a list of activities that are eligible as well as ineligible. If ever you're unsure about whether an opportunity will count, please consult a member of the guidance team and we would be more than happy to help you. Here's an example of the form that needs to be filled out prior to heading out to volunteer. Anyone in the guidance office can have your hours pre-approved. You'll find at the back of the form that there's a list of eligible and ineligible activities. However, if you're ever unsure, please do ask us in guidance for clarification. One thing students always ask is, does this form expire? No, it doesn't. Students who have completed hours in grade 9 can hand them in grade 12. However, we encourage you to hand them in as soon as you're done completing the activity. Okay, let's move on to course selection. In the following slide, there are various course types that a student can select when choosing their courses. Applied, academic, open, locally developed, and most recently added has been the D-streamed course, which is currently only applicable to the grade 9 math class. The Minister of Education has recently announced that a new D-streamed grade 9 science course will be implemented in September of 2022. Additionally, the remaining grade 9 applied courses in English, French, and geography will no longer be offered in the next school year. This means that almost all grade 9 students will be taking academic programming in these subject areas. At this time, this is all the information we have surrounding the D-streamed courses for next year. When we receive more information, then we will be sharing it with your grade 8 teachers as well as the transition teachers. Keep in mind that when selecting the course type for your child, it's a great idea to consult your grade 8 teacher, the transition teacher, a special ed teacher, and or a resource teacher. They will help you make the best informed decision for your child. We understand that this is a lot of information and you'll have a lot of questions, and we're happy to speak with you following the presentation. We want you to keep in mind that these course types are flexible and fluid. One is not better than the other. Students can transition from one course type to the next. Course type differences are mainly embedded in the learning style, and students must make honest decisions when they're choosing their courses. Students must also consider which course type is appropriate for their learning style. Students don't need to take all of one course type, for example, all academic. It can be interchangeable. You can take one course academic and another course applied. If you need help in understanding the various course types and pathways, again, following the presentation, you'll be able to ask all of your questions to the guidance counselors. Students, please keep in mind that this is your story and these are your course selections. So even though your friend might be choosing an applied class for math or an applied class for English, it doesn't mean that you need to as well. We want you to do an honest self-assessment to make the best informed decision for your course selections. Now let's look at the course types in more detail. For the academic course type, students develop knowledge and skills through the study of theory and abstract problems. Students generally work more independently in this type of environment, and the class size is 29. For the applied course type, students learn best with the hands-on and practical approach. Students require a more structured learning environment, and there is less independent learning for this particular course type. You'll also note that this class size is a little bit smaller with 22 students. For the locally developed course types, these courses are selected through an IPRC meeting in conjunction with your special ed teacher. The maximum class size is 16 students. Please note that for the applied and academic course types, the curriculum is exactly the same. The approach is what is different. For open courses, these comprise of a set of expectations that are appropriate for all students. They are not really designed with specific requirements for university, college, or the workplace. And then finally, D-Streamed incorporates a blend of all of the course types. For specific questions related to the Math D-Streamed course, you can always visit the Math Q&A live session following this presentation. Again, there is a lot of information here, so please seek clarification if needed. The final thing I want to leave with you is that initial decisions made in grade 8 are not final decisions. There are many pathways to get to your post-secondary destinations. When selecting your courses, all students must choose French, unless instructed otherwise. French is a compulsory subject and is mandatory from grades 4 to 9. Students are encouraged to study French in grades 10 through 12. Grade 9 French is now offered at the open level for students who are new to Canada or have less than 600 hours of instruction in French. If you are unsure which French course you want to take, please consult your grade 8 teacher, your transition teacher, or have one of them reach out to one of the guidance counselors here at MDHS. So let's move on to the optional or elective courses for grade 9 students. In grade 9, students can choose up to 2 elective credits. Here are the subjects that you can choose from: technological education, business studies, the arts, Latin, social sciences and humanities, and special education. We also want you to know that we are the only school in the YRDSB to offer Latin. So this might be something that you could consider. I wanted you to also know that our MDHS website is currently now active, and you can peruse all of the various subject areas and look into these courses a little bit more in depth. There's also the video that you probably have viewed already that was created by an MDHS student here that showcases what each subject entails. So hopefully with these 2 resources, that'll give you a better understanding of what subject and what course you might want to take. So, in summary, to complete your grade 9 course selections, you must select 2 elective courses from the following 7 elective choices that we just discussed, and then select 2 alternate courses. The alternate courses are courses basically in the event that you don't get your initial 2 selections, we have 2 others to choose from. So in total, you would be choosing 4 electives and basically ranking them 1 to 4. Choosing your courses for grade 9 in February should be a collaborative process. I would strongly encourage both students and families to consult their grade 8 teachers, their transition teachers, and any other teacher who knows their child best. Students can choose a combination of courses, as I mentioned earlier, and it should be based on the way the student learns and the way they will be most successful. Keep in mind, as I've said before, that initial decisions made in grade 8 do not dictate what the outcome will be for any post-secondary pathways. So please collaborate with your teachers, and if need to, you can always call us here or email us in order to give you some advice as well. As you are choosing your courses on my pathway planner through my blueprint, you'll see that you can start planning ahead. So if you would like, you can start entering your courses for grades 10 through 12 to give you an idea of what your pathway might look like. I would also encourage students and families to start thinking about experiential learning opportunities in grades 11 and 12. Things like co-op and SHSM are fantastic programs that I think you should consider. You should also consider what post-secondary opportunities might be available to you once you graduate. And then you can start planning to design down on what you'll need in grade 12, 11, 10 in order to get you there. As you can see from this chart, pathways are flexible. What you think you might want to do now in grade 9 may change as you begin to learn and take various courses throughout your high school journey. So where you end up in grade 12 may be very different than what you think right now. Again, guidance counselors will be here to help you as you begin your journey and throughout your journey here at MDHS. As you can see from this chart, the staff here at MDHS work collaboratively to ensure student success and well-being. We have a team of teachers who meet bi-weekly to discuss how best to support students that may not be thriving or working to their full potential. We as a staff want to ensure that all students have a caring adult in the building so that students don't ever feel alone. If ever you, the students or families, have questions and or concerns about how we can support you or better support you, we encourage you to reach out to your guidance counselor so that we can address it immediately. There are a variety of ways to achieve success, and that's what we want students to know. There is no right way. Every student will have a different pathway, and success will look differently for each and every one of you. Yes, there's going to be challenges and setbacks along the way, but the staff here will definitely help you achieve your goals. We hope you're so excited to begin your new journey at MDHS. Here are some timelines for students who are currently registered at one of our YRDSB schools. In December, guidance counselors from MDHS will be visiting your school and going over the course selection process again. A lot of what you've heard from this presentation will be presented again at that time. In February, on the 16th, course selection process opens for all students at 9 a.m. Please note, this is not a first come, first served basis. As long as students get their courses in by February 25th at 4 p.m., all courses will be considered. There is no need to rush because we want you to make informed and wise decisions. I can't stress enough that we want you to choose courses that are best for you and that will make you successful. Please do not choose a course because your friend has chosen it. I've had experience in guidance for a long time, and I can tell you that that excuse comes up time and time again. Well, I chose this course because so-and-so did. So please think about what you want to take, do some research, ask questions in order to make some proper decisions. And we can't wait to see you here at MDHS next year. For students who are currently outside of the YRDSB but are considering moving or coming to the YRDSB, there'll be a live Q&A following this presentation to answer any questions that you may have surrounding the registration process. What I can say is appointments are typically made in January, and at that time in January when you meet with one of our vice principals, at that time is when you will do your course selection manually. Again, if you have any questions, you can always ask following the presentation, either at the live Q&A specifically for transfers and registrations, or you can drop into one of the guidance Zoom meetings as well. Well, that brings my presentation to a close. I hope you found it informative, and I hope you're excited to join us here at MDHS next year. And I apologize if your head is spinning for all the information that I've shared. However, if you have any questions or you need some more clarification on anything that I've said, you can join us now from 7:30 to 8:30 in our Zoom sessions. Please note that for the live Q&A sessions, we've divided it into two. This is because we want to accommodate as many people as possible. So the first session will be divided according to the first half of the alpha, so surnames A to MA with myself and Mr. Bowie, and Mr. Weinstein and Ms. Krahulis will be in another Zoom meeting for last names MC to Z. If you're having a hard time logging into the Zoom session, please email me at gabrielle.mcgill@yrdsb.ca and I will do my best to have you log into the Zoom. We thank you and we can't wait to connect with you virtually.